Okay, so hey everybody, Basecamp here again, bringing you the second game of a two-match set from the International Preliminaries. It's going to be between Complexity over on the Dire side and TongFu on the Radiant side. I'm casting this game based on the recommendation of a thread that was over on r 2 based on the best games of each day of the preliminaries. So this should be a very exciting one, and hopefully I will do a good job. Fingers crossed. Anyway, again, I will just say that if you have any content at all that you'd like me to cast, or maybe even an idea for a guide, something like that, then just feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to do it, and I'm looking to be pushing out content every single day. So, anyway, enough about me rambling on. I think I've introduced myself enough, and I guess, as always, disclaimer, apologies if I miss any kills, guys. It feels terrible. Also, I'm probably missing things here and there. I'm still finding my feet in terms of the whole casting thing. But hopefully, daily practice, get better, all of that. But anyway, banned so far, we've got Naga Siren, Lycan, and the Nature's Prophet. Darkseer following them as well, so in terms of power heroes, maybe still left in the pool, we've got the Invoker. I'm not sure how much either team favors it. Other heroes that we might expect to see just based on the trends from the International. Maybe a Morphling ban, something like that. Rubik as well has been creeping his way into the first pick ban status, but we will have to see. As always, you can also just have the option to ban out those great supports or the great all-round heroes, as I mentioned, like the Rubik, like the Leshrac. And so we'll have to see what TongFu are going for here. They've opted to ban out the sort of, I guess, the pushier power heroes in this case, while Complexity have banned out the sort of team fight oriented ones, but not really a giveaway in terms of overall strategy. And TongFu actually just taking time with this ban. I mean, I guess the four, well, even Nature's Prophet hasn't really featured all that much in the first bans. Sometimes we see him, and other times we just see him make it all the way through the draft without being considered. And he definitely he needs sort of a specific lineup. Well, you need to build a team around the Nature's Prophet. You can't just throw him into any lineup like you sort of can heroes like the Windrunner and the Leshrac and sort of the Rubik. They can always just sort of find a place in a team, but the Nature's Prophet, you definitely need to be able to take those early towers and to take advantage of the global presence that he gives you. And so Chen gonna be the last ban by Complexity. So banning out that defensive jungler, Chen, as always, gives you a great XP and gold advantage heading into the middle game, and it's a great way to. And he's so much better than Enchantress in the late game. Enchantress's strength is really those first few minutes of the game when she can have 2 creeps, she can be ganking, she's extremely powerful. But late game she falls off. She's got some good damage, but it doesn't really stand up against the Chen. And with the push oriented bans from TongFu, it definitely looks like they're going to be wanting to play a sort of a safer game, and again put the onus on Complexity to be doing the pushing, and to be doing the pushing, making the action happen. And when you put the onus on another team, then it takes the pressure off you with regards to making mistakes. If you've got the safer carries and you've got the safer lanes and you've got good defensive potential, then you can just and you can hold on to your towers, I mean, as a key point, then you can also capitalize on your opponent's mistakes when they try and go for the pushes, when they go for the aggressive dives, things like that. And so we'll have to see how Complexity respond. It looks like they spotted it out a bit with this Chen ban, and the Lone Druid first pick definitely indicates that TongFu are going to be wanting to safely farm on him and maybe get a bit of a timing push up based around that Radiant or a few other items. But Rubik's going to be picked up by Complexity, and if there's any way to sow chaos and to just absolutely, completely capitalize on just little things in team fights, it's the Rubik. And with the Venomancer picked up as well, we're not going to be seeing him played in a hard support role. So going to be exciting to see Rubik this game and keep an eye on him. And I guess it's no secret that I am a big fan of Rubik. I absolutely love watching him be played. I love all the voice work, all of that. But Invoker and Tidehunter are going to be picked up by TongFu, so not only some really big potential steals for Rubik if he can grab that Ravage, and regardless of what build Invoker goes, there's always fantastic spells for Rubik to be stealing there. So we may see Rubik facing up against Invoker in the middle lane, and it's always an interesting lane to watch because it really comes down to sort of not only ganks from the supporting cast and who can manage to get that first kill off and get the upper hand, but also just individual player skill. They've both got great animations, reasonable damage, and good ways to control a lane. Invoker maybe a little bit maybe falls off a little bit in terms of the harassment, and Rubik able to grab those runes by spamming at the creeps using Fade Bolt. But it's definitely a very dynamic lane. And TongFu, well, we'll have to see. Maybe Invoker's going to be played Quaswex this game. It's a great defensive way to play. They've got the Tidehunter, so they've got good team fight to back up protecting those towers. And with the Enchantress pickup, it looks like Complexity going to be going for a very similar style as they did to the last game. Get that early game advantage, get those towers, and then just go from there. And maybe not quite as much team fight this game as they had in the last one to back up these pushes that they're going to be going for, but we will have to see. They've definitely got fantastic level 1, and those first few levels of the game, they're all going to be extremely strong. So Beastmaster going to be banned out by TongFu, so Complexity in terms of lanes, we'll probably see Rubik heading towards that mid, as I mentioned, maybe up against the Invoker. Venomancer and Enchantress maybe +1 to form up a bit of an aggressive tri-lane, and then I guess they need a hard lane or even a safe lane solo, depending on how they choose to run this Enchantress. We'll have to see. And Enigma's going to be banned out by Complexity, so again, just trying to deny that XP and gold advantage heading into the mid game. Interesting to see the Enigma ban based on having Rubik, and I guess it is mainly focused at the fact that he can give you the same sort of XP and gold advantage that Chen can, and just taking advantage of that jungle XP, even with the Enchantress on the other team. It means that, well, Complexity, they've got the jungler right now, so that means that they're getting the XP and gold advantage right off the bat, and denying it to TongFu as well with those bans. So if they can, their lineup is really going to rely on grabbing that early lead. They've still got the potential to pick up a hard carry, but Enchantress sort of falls off, and so when the carry gets going, you've already sort of lost the Enchantress, unless you've had a fantastic early game and managed to pick up, mech, drums, Aghanims, something along those lines. And a hard support ban by Complexity to finish off this last ban phase. And the tiny ban by TongFu, so maybe suspecting the Venomancer tiny Enchantress 2.5 lane, I guess. Again, and it did fantastically last game against TongFu. How could just not find the farm that he wanted on that lone druid. And we'll have to see what TongFu choose to pick up. If they're going to be going for a Quas Exford Invoker, which seems fairly unlikely, they might want to grab the Shadow Demon, something like that. They still need a hard support, and there's not all that many left in the pool. I guess there's the Witch Doctor, Crystal Maiden, Shadow Demon, as always. I'm probably forgetting a few, but they do still need one though. So Shadow Demon's going to be picked up. So we'll see if they choose to run this Invoker as Quas Exort based off that. Quaswex would be fantastic against Complexity. Venomancer Enchantress and Rubik fairly mana dependent, but not fantastic int growth. I know that Rubik has actually fairly low. You can't see his gains, but he's got fairly low base int and int growth. So EMP is just devastating for him. But we will have to see how this Invoker is played. I mean, Quazwex, good ganking, and also just great defensive pressure when Complexity go for these towers that it looks like they're going to be going for. And DK actually going to be picked up, so we'll see if he's running the... I mean, Dragon Tail, it's a great stun, and it means that you can run DK as a fairly early game hero. He's got presence throughout. He's got good nuke, good stun early game. I mean, he's got one of the longest level 1 stuns. Well, he's got his stun doesn't scale very well, so rank 1 is absolutely fantastic. Becomes a great pusher with the green dragon form after level 6. Can get some early game items there, and then he's a monster late game with the frost dragon as well. So a great pickup for Complexity, and we'll have to see if they choose to maybe run the sort of the Pinoy solo mid DK that we have seen, or whether he's just going to be in that tri lane with the Venomancer and Enchantress. And so we'll have to see what Complexity choose to put in their off lane. The Windrunner is still available, but I think they do still need somebody to put down on that bottom lane. But TongFu with that last Lina pickup, they've actually got some fantastic ganking potential. I mean, Shadow Demon Disruption is a great setup for the Light Striker Ray, and with the Soul Catcher as well, Lina's damage is just through the roof. And with those remaining pickups, TongFu managed to pick up a lot of heroes that are fantastic in the first 5 levels of their play. They've got the Gush, they've got things like that, and Brewmaster is actually going to be the choice. So it looks like maybe Venomancer, Enchanters, and DK maybe heading down towards that bottom lane in a bit of an aggressive tri-lane. Brewmaster safely farming on top, and then Jo on that Rubik maybe heading towards mid. And over on TongFu, we might see... Well, it depends. We might see Tidehunter, Shadow Demon, and Lina forming up a bit of a tri-lane of their own. Maybe Lone Druid safely farming down on bot with Invoker played by Mu towards mid. But as always, disclaimer on my predictions there. They're more often wrong than right, I think is a fair assessment. But this is looking to be a very exciting game. Both teams have lineups that are effective throughout the game. There's a little bit of an advantage to Complexity, maybe early game because of that Enchantress, but there's going to be big team fights, and I expect this Rubik to be doing a lot of work. Well, hopefully. Oh god, I just... sorry guys, that's embarrassing. I meant to click the hide the spectator dealie. Anyway, sorry about that. I'll be in the game in just a second. There we go. Sorry about that. It's a free camera. No, I'll just hide that. And just waiting for Fluff and Stuff to pick up that Enchantress. Sorry guys, that's silly on my part. A little bit of a misclick, but come on, Fluff and Stuff. But yeah, this should be an extremely exciting game. There's great tower pushing potential from Complexity. They've got great mid-game team fight, and so just going to run over who's playing what. We've got over on Complexity, we've got Fluff and Stuff playing his Enchantress. Unfortunately, because obviously her model's being broken down for cosmetic items, doesn't look all that great right now. But anyway, we've got Jo on the Rubik, so probably heading towards that middle lane. IX Mike on his Venomancer, as you would expect. TC going to be playing the Dragon Knight, and Hannah Montana on that Brewmaster. Over on TongFu, we've got Awoke playing the Tidehunter. Mu is going to be on that Invoker, and already picking up a point in Exort, so it looks like it is going to be a Quaz Exort Invoker with that Shadow Demon. Kabu is going to be on the Lina, Sanshang on his hard support, Shadow Demon, and Hao immediately just heading down to this bottom lane as the Lone Druid. Just scouting out right now, using the Bear. And Complexity immediately heading into TongFu's jungle and blocking off the pull cam. So again, I do think we're going to see IX Mike, TC, and Fluff and Stuff heading down towards this lane. But maybe suspecting the aggressive tri-lane with Sunstrike support up on top, so we'll have to see how they react to that. It's a really, really dangerous combo. I mean, it's extremely easy to land a Sunstrike using the using the disruption with just a little bit of practice. And the Light Strike Array and Dragon Slave on top means that it's a very dangerous lane. Yep, so Sancheng, Awoke, and Kabu going to be up on that top lane. Up against Hannah Montana and that Brewmaster. He is not going to have a fantastic time. But Brewmaster reasonably beefy, and if he can just hang back, he should be okay. But amplified pure damage from that Sunstrike is going to be dangerous. But we'll have to see how Hao handles this bottom lane as well. With TC, IX Mike, and Fluff and stuff down here. And just using the bear to block this camp as well, so yeah. Getting rid of the big creep for complexity. We'll see if Fluff and stuff just opts to head over and use the sight down onto the low ground to grab this. Yeah, so he's just going to head down and grab this Ursa, which is apparently a Centaur Con, but I feel lied to. Anyway, so Kabu picks up the 0-minute rune. It's a haste, so Hannah Montana, again, he's immediately in a very defensive position up on this top lane. And TongFu looks like they're going to be putting, well, primarily the farm onto Awoke, so he's probably going to be picking up a pair of mana boots for that lane reasonably early on. And Hao just keeping an eye on what's happening in the jungle using that bear. Ursa Warrior heading around, but Hao doing a great job of this bear micro just to keep himself safe. And Hannah Montana forced to hug the tower up on top. And looks like Sancheng, oh, what's he going to be doing? Just moving around towards mid. Kabu, a little bit of a wraparound onto Jao, and he has to head straight into the river. And, back up onto the high ground now, so he's going to feel a little bit safer. But Sancheng and Kabu are coming in, and level 2 already up on Sancheng, so they've got that first rank of Soulcatcher. Jao needs to be extremely careful, and there's no sight for him. Hannah Montana knows that they're miss up on the top lane, but Jao can't afford to hug his tower, can't afford to let Mu get the advantage in this lane, but at the same time he can't afford to die. It's a bit unfortunate, but no, TongFu looks like they're going to back off for now. Jao, good defensive position, just hanging all the way as far back from that ramp as he possibly could. And it means that he would have been able to retreat out. And yeah, Mu already picking up that Sunstrike, so TongFu, they're definitely looking to pull off this combo right now. And Kabu's still in level 1, but Light Strike Array stun duration doesn't scale up, so I mean, so long as they can land that out of the disruption, it's going to be a ton of damage with the Sunstrike and the Soulcatcher on top. Yeah, so Hannah Montana, all he's going to be doing is just trying to sit back and grab XP. If disruption lands, it's not looking good for him to be able to survive. It looks like the bear's going to be going down. It is going to be resummoned just before it dies yet. Doesn't want to give away that 100 gold or take the damage, but bear getting harassed, and he can't afford to lose another one. I mean, it leaves him extremely vulnerable down in this bottom lane. Fluff and stuff. Throwing a tornado onto mid lane, it's going to push Mu out, giving Jao a little bit of advantage. And again, it's an off combo pulled off on top, and base kit misses the first blood, but disruption, Soulcatcher, as you would expect, finishing off Hannah Montana. Mu taking a lot of damage from this tornado, and standing too close means that you're within the inner damage range, which does it does a lot. And switching over to Quasorbs, just trying to regen up. And Bear gonna be trying to pull all the way around to Hao. He's now forced back behind his, all the way back behind his tier 1. And Hannah Montana gonna be heading back up towards top, but the potential for that combo is always there, so he just has to play so safe and just get levels up. Once he's up to level 6, he should be able to split and be reasonably safe, but we'll have to see. And Jao maybe in a little bit of trouble here. Sancheng moving forward, wants the disruption. Jao just immediately running away. And move speed probably just saving him there. Didn't quite have his boots, but 300 base move speed. And Sancheng 295 on that Shadow Demon, so not able to get into range. And here we go. Complexity are going to be able to maybe claim this first early tower. Kabu and Sancheng are going to be heading down, but Plague Wards are up. And another wave of creeps are almost here. Kabu moves in, but he's only level 2. Throws the Dragon Slave, but tower already down to half health. And the Siege Creep is going to be able to... Radiance Ancient, apparently, is going to be able to get a few more auto attacks up. And it frees up a bit of space for Hannah Montana up on this top lane. They need all three of Sansheng and Sansheng, Kabu, and Awoke, and even a Sunstrike to kill off this Brewmasters. So by just drawing that attention down to bot, Complexity wastes a bit of TongFu's time, and it you know, they lose a little bit of their kill potential. And Complexity haven't been forced to run around at all. They've been playing exactly the game that they want to. But it looks like Fluffenstuff might just be heading. No. We'll have to see if he decides to head up into the Radiant, into the Dire jungle, or back down into the Radiant. Why I can't think of the team names, I'm not sure. But anyway, so TC farming really well down in this bottom lane. 32 last hits for him, and we're only 6 minutes in. And Bear taking a lot of damage, and does have another one. Yep, almost. Well, it is off cooldown, so he can just resummon that. Yep, no problem. So he's actually doing reasonably well on this bottom lane. Getting shut down a little bit in terms of lasts, but he hasn't died. Disruption. Here comes the Sunstrike as well. Soul Catcher. Stun on the Ix Mike. He's going to be going down. And a kill for Hao. Bear just grabbing up that last hit. And Sunstrike stolen by Jao. Doesn't quite land onto Kabu. Light Strike around to TC, but just one more right click. But the salve pops off. Is cancelled. No mischance there. TC going to be trying to TP out. And nothing to stop him. And lots of TP support coming in for TongFu. Jo still has the haste when he wants Kabu. Great light stack array by Kabu. And the Gush as well. Ravage pops off. Jo still has bottle charges. Is he going to be able to make it out? Yeah, no, the disruption. But the Soul Catcher on top as well. Still has that haste for a little bit. Is he going to be able to make it out? And it stole the Ravage. Awoke didn't have enough mana to cover that. So Jo looks like he's going to be able to make it out right now. And the Sunstrike just not quite coordinated with the disruption. And Awoke still chasing, has a Gush now because of those arcane boots, but Jerry just going to throw him up onto the cliff. And is he going to be able to walk out? No, they just need to cut through that in just a second. And Complexity, with all those heroes pulled down towards bottom lane, they're now just pushing up on top and just reacting perfectly to what TongFu are doing. TongFu have managed to pick up 2 kills, but if Complexity can grab a couple of towers, it's not going to be all that worrying for them. And it looks like this tier 1's going to be going down. No potential for a deny right now. So Fluffenstuff picks up that last hit. And TC still not doing too badly in terms of farm down this bottom lane. He's got a Soul Ring, so able to spam that Breathe Fire off as much as he wants, and up to level 6 as well, so that green dragon form, if he's able to get anywhere near this tower, it's going to be going down. And Jo and Ix Mike back down towards this bottom lane. We'll have to see if Jo tries to hold on to that Ravage for the cooldown. And dragon form popping off. Looks like the tower's going to be going down. Sansheng and Hao hiding down in the trees. TP support comes in as well. Disruption on top. Stun onto Awoke. Jo trapped in by the illusions. Great block by TongFu. Jo's going to be going down. And all of TongFu down in this bottom lane right now. And Complexity, they're just going to be pushing up on top. The Wildskin Tornado up as well. And Venomancer managing to finish that tower off just using the Plague Wards. Fantastic play by Ix Mike. Another tier 1 for Complexity. So even with these deaths, well, they're down 3 kills, but they're about to be up 3 towers. And yep, gold a little bit in their favor. XP in favor of TongFu, probably just because of those kills. Sunstrike gonna land on the Fluffenstuff, but he still has those wisps and a salve, so not gonna be all that concerned. And TongFu, they're all just walking up towards this top lane. We'll have to see if they're able to get up here in time to stop the tower going down. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. Awoke's going to be in position to try and deny. Moves forward. Has the Ravage. Are they going to be able to pick up this tower? Awoke just wants the Ravage. But the Brewmaster split pops off. And stun onto Awoke. He's now in trouble. Doesn't want to use the Ravage just against the spirits. TongFu are here. But great cyclone by Hannah Montana. He's going to try and retreat out. Earth Panda a little bit slow and it's going to fall out of there. Ravage pops off. Sunstrike on top as well. Hannah Montana probably going to be going down right now. Oh, the stomp finishes off Awoke. Are they going to be able to finish off Kabu? 1 right click, 2 right click, 2 kills for Complexity. Oh, wow. Oh, that was absolutely fantastically played. Hannah Montana just... Oh, I really thought he was going to be going down out of that, especially with the Ravage popped off, but Fluffenstuff comes back in. Complexity hold their ground and pick up 2 kills as well as the tower. with only losing the cooldown on that Brewmaster split. So one tier 1 left for TongFu. But again, they're playing maybe a slightly more defensive lineup. I mean, with the Quasi-Expert Invoker, they're definitely looking for these kills using the Lina and the Shadow Demon. But they're getting pushed back, and they haven't been able to use the Ravage to hold on to their towers. Been using it to try and grab some kills. And TC, how is he doing? I mean, 50 for 9. No kills, no deaths, no assists, but he's not going to be all that worried. And opting for a drum, so fairly early game item for him, and great pushing potential. Sansheng moves forward, but TC has the bonus move speed from that dragon form, so able to avoid the disruption. And Complexity just taking control of the Dire jungle right now. Complexity, Fluff and Stuff continues to farm up over in the Dire jungle. Complexity is taking control of the Radiant jungle, and they're just finding a lot of farm for themselves right now. They've already got a 4k gold advantage, and they're just going to be looking to extend that lead. And then TongFu, they need to hold on to their towers. They can't afford to lose map control so early on. And I mean, TongFu again, they just got pulled all over the map by Complexity. They decided to go down bot to try and help out How, and it let Hannah Montana have some space to breathe up on top. Looks like we're gonna have a bit of engagement now. Tier 1 tower under pressure. 4 heroes here for TongFu, just waiting for How to get into position. Fortification pops off. Are they going to be able to deny this? Bear stolen by Jao. Yep, TC managing to pick up that last right click. And the bear is going to go down. Resummon just in time. So not giving away the gold or taking the damage. But TongFu already down to 2 tier 2s. Complexity are just playing this absolutely perfectly. And I mean, TongFu, they had the aggressive kill potential, but they've only found 3 kills 12 minutes into the game. They've just been pulled all over the map. I mean, Fluff and Stuff moved up perfectly onto that top lane to put pressure on once all of TongFu TP'd down bot. And it meant that they had to walk all the way to top lane, and they lost 2 tier 2s, and they lost 2 towers in the process. Fluff and Stuff going to be spotted out by Sansheng, but not going to be stopped. Pops off the Wisps. Disruption on him as well. Gonna have the Sunstrike, and he's gonna be going down. But immediately Split popping off in mid, and Awoke gonna be going down. How on the retreat, but sent up by the Tornado. Dispelled off. What is stolen? A stun onto How. He's gonna be going down here. More than likely another stun from the Earth Panda. Yep, right clicks just enough. And 2 kills for 1 for Complexity, and looks like they're just gonna keep pushing. Still half the duration left on that Dragon Forward. Hannah Montana with the Blink Forward. Moo gets hit by the Venomous Gale. Is going to be able to get out of here. No. Telekinesis as well. He goes down. 3 kills for 1 for Complexity. And looks like it's going to be another tower for them as well. Playing fantastically. But with this pushed lineup, they had a strategy in mind, and they're executing it absolutely perfectly. Pushing before the Lone Druid can even become relevant and farm up that Radiance. And until that point, TongFu are effectively playing 4v5. I mean, if you can get the bear near some towers, he can do some damage, but just in these team fights, he doesn't have anything but right click. I mean, Syllabear has a couple of active abilities, but they're all just related to the bear and buffing up his damage and buffing up his health. It doesn't really bring anything all that dynamic. And when you compare it to something like the Brewmaster or the Rubik, who just have a plethora of spells at their disposal. It's looking fantastic for Complexity. If TongFu can hold on, there's still great potential for them in getting this Syllabear farmed up. But they just don't have map control to do it right now. A little bit of a smoke, but TC gonna be running away. Drum and treads a little bit too fast compared to Sansheng with only those boots. So getting a disruption off extremely difficult, even with the smoke reveal range being slightly less than sight range. So it does help you get into position even if you're not looping around and trying to avoid wards. But How gonna be heading down onto bot again. He just needs to try and find some farm. If you can get the Radiance up, it's gonna be a big help in these team fights, but we'll have to see. I mean, Complexity are probably gonna have a mech and maybe a pipe up soon enough. And IX Mike again opting for that early Medallion of Courage, so the potential to grab Roshan is there for Complexity. They've got the Enchantress creeps to tank, and they've got the damage from the Medallion as well. So we'll have to see what complexity opt for. Smoke up for them right now, so it looks like they might. Oh, are they going to go for How? It's just IX Mike and TC right now. But How backing off, maybe suspecting that something is up. And IX Mike going to walk right past that sentry ward, so maybe spotting him out with just its tiny bit of sight range. And then there's no observer nearby, but I think he got close enough for them to suspect something's up. Yep, and How immediately hugging back onto his tower. TC and IX Mike still about half the duration left on that smoke, so they're able to wander around. And TongFu know that they're there, but they don't know where. And complexity, they've just completely taken control of the map right now. TongFu push back into their base. One tier 2 tower left, and it's a bad position to farm from, and it's a difficult spot to get out of. And complexity should be able to get this rush on absolutely no problem. Sunstrike scouting it out, almost scouting it out, but I don't think TongFu are going to be in a position to try and stop this. Awoke does have the Ravage off cooldown, but Brewmaster split there as well, so yeah, it looks like it's going to be an uncontested Roshan for complexity, so probably putting that onto TC. And after this, they're just in a fantastic position to just go and try and force a tier 3. I mean, TongFu can defend, but they're really relying on getting a fantastic Ravage. How, again, he just needs to finish up that Radiance, but he's a long way off. And without it, he's just not a threat in these team fights. It's easy enough to just ignore him and then finish him off last, even if he's tanky. It's not all that much of a problem. And popping off the green dragon form just to wipe out this tower, and it looks like it's going to be uncontested. Kabu moving forward a little bit, but they don't want to take this team fight. And when you can't take the team fight, all you can do is surrender towers and surrender gold to the enemy team. And 3 TPs heading straight up onto the top, stomp onto How. Is he going to be able to make it out? Sansheng's here. There is a defensive disruption if they need it, but a stun, and the telekinesis back onto How. Looks like it's going to be 2 kills. Sansheng, defensive disruption. Looks like is he going to be able to get How out? Now all of complexity are pretty much up here. How trying to do what he can, but he's going to be picked off. Sansheng isn't going to be able to make it out. Hannah Montana doesn't quite have enough mana for the stomp. And the Sunstrike managing to pick off IX Mike, but Sansheng, he's going to go down here. Stomp from Hannah Montana finishes him off. So 2 for 1 the trade, but How again dies, gets set back in terms of that Radiance. And again, he's just not going to be able to contribute to these team fights. And complexity, all they have to do is wait for IX Mike to be up, but he's only level 7, so it's not a very long wait on their Venomancer. Maybe just need to head back to base to grab a little bit of mana, but after that they should be fine to push up. And cooldown on Dragon Form reasonably low anyway, so TC doesn't really have to wait for that either. Maybe waiting for the split. We'll have to see, but they've got the Aegis advantage up. There's no rush to use it, but we'll have to see how safe they try and play this. They know that How is a long way off that Radiance. I mean, 400 gold away from the Relic, and even after that, still needs to farm the 1350 for the recipes. So he is a way away. And TC, what is he picking up? Yeah, so BKB flying in for him. So he's just going to be an absolute monster in these team fights. And there's nothing to CC him on TongFu. He's just going to be right-clicking away. And that first 10-second BKB is just going to wreak havoc. Move speed aura, grabbed by Fluff and stuff, so TC's zipping around with that drum as well. And How continues to farm. Is he going to be able to finish up this? Well, he should be able to finish up the Relic before the next fight breaks out, if they're waiting for this Brewmaster split to be off cooldown. He's got a minute, but complexity could really put the pressure on any time that they want. And they still just look at this map control. I mean, they haven't lost any of their tier 1s. They've taken all of TongFu's outer towers. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job in this game. They're just playing it exactly as they would have wanted. And this Dragon Knight pick has been absolutely great. I mean, Tiny getting banned out, but the push from the Dragon Knight and the presence that he gives throughout the game is just absolutely great. And Awoke moves up onto this high ground. Complexity formed up now. How long until the split? Only 15 seconds. So they're going to be happy to go for this. Sancheng trying to place a couple of wards. Hannah Montana blinking onto him. Soulcatcher finds it, but Impetus finishes him off. How? Deafening Blast trying to keep him safe, but two heroes immediately picked off from TongFu. And Complexity not really having to pop anything to get it. And this looks like it's going to be a tier 3. Sancheng's going to be up in just a second, but half a minute for How. And TongFu will see if they're going to be able to hold this. They don't want to pop the Ravage without all of their heroes up, but the tier 3s are already taking a lot of damage. Fortification popped off. TC's got a long time left in that Dragon form. Disruption onto him, trying to hold on as much as they can. Great combo with the Light Strike Array as well, but he's so tanky. Laguna Blade doing almost nothing. Chaos Meteor over the top, just trying to spam what they can to hold this push off. TC just going to back off, heal up a little bit, but the tier 3 looks like it's going to be going down. Brewmaster split. Still a little bit left on that, but they really just want to come in a few seconds with that Ravage. But is it going to be soon enough? The the Rax is already taking a lot of damage. Awoke now waiting forward. No positioning items for him, and nothing to help him get in there. Venomancer wards still just spamming away on this melee barracks. And Complexity may not even need to take this fight to grab it. TongFu move forward, Ice Wall down, IX Mike just keeps that Plague War spam going. TC now out of the Dragon form, but still has that BKB off cooldown, so Complexity still in a good position to fight this, and the melee barracks does go down. And Complexity going to be happy to back off right now, and I'm going to be happy to have a bit of a coughing fit. Just give me a second. Oh, sorry guys. Getting over a little bit of a cold right now. Anyway, so Complexity not trading away anything and picking up that melee barracks, so great position for them to be in. Still have the Aegis up, still have a long duration BKB on TC, and it's just looking absolutely great for them. How? He's got the Relic up, but he's still a long way off the Radiance. And all Complexity have to wait for is maybe the Poison Nova in 6 seconds, and a minute until that Primal Split is going to be off cooldown. Awoke now picking up a Blink Dagger, so going to have a lot better positioning for that next Ravage, and it is also going to be level 2, so that'll be a bit of a help, but he needs to be careful, needs to keep that away from Jo. If he's able to steal that Ravage, then these team fights are going to look ugly. Jo forward onto How, stun as well, he's taking a ton of damage. TC going to try and finish him off. Sunstrike on the top, but this is Complexity's go. And How getting picked off again, setting that Radiance back even further. TongFu, they've got the Ravage up, but are they going to be able to hold this? Just spamming off as much as they can, trying to hold off this push, but TC looks like he wants to go high ground. Stun onto Awoke. Still has a long duration left on that Dragon form. Defensive Disruption onto Awoke. Well played by Sancheng. And spell stolen by Jo, managing to grab that Chaos Meteor. Going to be doing a lot of damage in this next fight. Sunstrike's just trying to harass as much as they can. Hao's going to be up in a second, but again, he's just not a huge contributor to these team fights. And IX Mike moving to position. Poison Nova off cooldown. Primal Split as well. Moo just trying to do what he can to defend. Pops down the Ice Wall, but he's going to be picked off right now. Primal Split pops off. Awoke uses the Ravage. Ice Wall still down. TC going to have a little bit of trouble getting onto the high ground, but the Primal Split, well, the Brewling's doing a lot of damage already. Good defensive disruption onto Awoke. Going to try and get him out, but the Ravage is already being used. Laguna Blade onto Fluff and stuff. Pops off the Wisps. He's going to be fine. Looks like a bit of a, well, no buybacks just yet. No, buyback on Moo. Trying to get back into this fight. Hannah Montana out of that ultimate right now. Jo trying to do what he can. Another great Ice Wall down. Deafening Blast on top. Just trying to push Complexity out of the base. But Jo has that stolen Laguna Blade. Gonna be using it. Moo picked off again. Complexity 2 kills and a buyback already used. And TongFu going to call the GG. Excellently played by Complexity. They had a game plan. They stuck to it. And they executed it absolutely perfectly. And they had TongFu just chasing them around the map the whole time. And that tri-lane down on bot just worked out perfectly. I mean, tri-lane versus solo, and Complexity just managed to shut it down that little bit better, force the attention from TongFu, grab the towers when TongFu pulled all of their heroes down to bottom lane, and from there just kept maneuvering around the map absolutely perfectly. Anyway, so I've been Baseskip. This this is game 2 from day 2 of the International Preliminaries. It was TongFu versus Complexity. Again, if you have any content that you'd like me to cast, replays, ideas for guides, anything like that, please feel free to send me a message. I'm looking to put out content every single day. And I guess I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you again soon. And again, as always, apologies for any mistakes or things like that. I'm trying to improve as much as I can, but hope to see you all later.